Hey everyone, and welcome to SkillCapped. My name is Dr. Zora, and in today's video, we're going to be reviewing how you can win on a budget. Economy is one of the most fundamentally important aspects of Valorant. It adds an additional layer of complexity to the game. While we all want to get the best guns possible, we also need to make sure that we set ourselves up for success for the entire half. This means not going too ham and making cautious buys when necessary to achieve that. Not having the best weaponry doesn't mean that you don't have a chance of winning a round, and actually if you play your cards right, you can actually have a good chance of taking it. We're going to break down the best eco buys in Valorant that will ensure you have the best shot possible of winning every round scenario. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Starting things off with our question of the day, y'all. What weapon do you like to purchase on an eco round? You don't have much to work with on these rounds, so you have to make the most with what you got. Let us know what low cost weapons that you like to use, and we'll be delving into those right now. First up, what are the best weapons to purchase on eco rounds? We're going to break this into high budget and low budget. High budget weapons are considered the best weapons to use for economy rounds. However, they're going to be more expensive. Opposite of that, low budget buys are going to be the cheaper weapons to purchase if you don't have the money available for the high budget weapons. Starting with our high budget, two of the best weapons to go for are the Spectre and the Ares. Both weapons cost 1600 credits and have the potential to stand up against rifles such as the Phantom and Vandal if you position yourself properly. From there, we have to mention the Judge. Also at 1600 credits, this is an absolute beast of a weapon that can shred enemies. If close enough, you can absolutely wipe someone out in 1 to 2 shots and tilt them to oblivion. The Judge is simply one of the most overpowered weapons in the game after the Bucky nerf, so we highly recommend taking advantage of that. Now our low budget weapons, the two best weapons to purchase here if you don't have enough for the high budget weapons are the Sheriff and the Marshal. These weapons have undeniably the best kill potential at their price range, with both of them being able to one-shot a fully armored opponent in the head, making them capable of taking down those 2900 credit rifles if played correctly. To compare, the Sheriff is only 800 credits and the Marshal is 1000 credits. You can be equally effective with the two, although the Sheriff will shine more in close range fights while the Marshal will shine more at longer ranges. Speaking of shining, if you want to outshine the competition and want top level tips to take your Valorant game to another dimension, then go to skillcapped.com to unlock our hyper improvement system that will teach you everything you need to blast through the rankings in Valorant. The link will be provided in the description below. Now that we know the best weapons to buy on eco rounds, when should we buy each? At the start of a round, if we go into the buy menu and look at the top left part of the screen, you'll see that it displays how much credits you'll have in the following round. When determining how much credits you can afford to use, you always want to look for the magic numbers here, which are 3900 and 4400. 3900 credits is the amount you need for full armor and a Phantom or Vandal, but 4400 is what you need to buy all that plus abilities. If you have abilities already, you only need to seek the 3900 credits mark. 4400 will be for full abilities with most agents, though it may be a little higher for those who have abilities that cost more than a total of 500 credits, such as with Breach's kit. Most agents do only have abilities that cost no more than 500 though. At most it'll be 600, where you want to have 4500 credits for if you need to purchase everything. Now we know what numbers to aim for, we can purchase down to those amounts in our economy rounds. One of the first things to consider when deciding what weapon to buy is your armor. We highly suggest having enough credits to purchase light armor. It only costs 400 credits and provides an additional bullet that you can tank up. With these lower cost weapons, it can take a little longer to kill a player off, and that additional survivability is going to be huge at a very cost effective price. In addition to that, when considering an eco weapon, we also want to consider how deep we're into the half. If the half is still relatively early on, even though we could go for light armor in a high budget weapon, we don't actually want to. The reason being is, like we mentioned, we want to manage our economy for the long haul. Say we're 0-3 in the half where we lost our first buy round. While I may be able to go for a high budget gun in light armor, I don't want to do so because I want an extra abundance of credits for future rounds. We don't want to spend too much early on where we end up with a round where we could perhaps afford the Phantom in full armor, but we are lacking that extra bit for abilities because we spent too much in an earlier round. Abilities are crucial to have in the game, so really the high budget weapons should be saved more for when the half is coming to a close and you know that you'll be able to buy everything you want on your full buys for the remainder of the half. With that being said, this means that most of your purchases are going to be for low budget weaponry at the beginning of the half and then gearing towards high budget weaponry at the end of the half. Make sure to keep the long term in mind when making your purchases to ensure you have as many complete full buys as possible. We have now gone over the general principles for economy rounds, so now let's get into the nitty gritty details that will help you determine the best buy for you. There are 3 factors to consider to determine your specific buy, and that is the map you're playing, the agent you're playing, and the position you're playing. Different maps lend themselves to different play styles and situations. For example, example, Breeze is a humongous map, and as such, it really favors weapons that do well at long range engagements. With that in mind, even though the high budget weapons cost more and theoretically do more damage, they lose their effectiveness quite quickly with an increase in distance. In fact, on long range maps such as Breeze and Icebox, the low budget weapons actually could do just as well or even better than the high budget weapons. The Marshal can one-shot at all ranges, and the Sheriff can one-shot at close ranges and still be a two-shot kill further away. This versus the Spectre, Ares, and Judge, who can only tickle enemies at long ranges such as 50 meters, which increases their time to kill. With the remaining map pool, you'll face enemies at a variety of ranges. However, most will likely be close or medium ranges. Here, the high budget weapons can shine much better, while the low budget weapons will be less effective. Going into agents, there are agents that are really good at closing the gap, and as such, they are deadly with close range eco weapons. An example is Raze, who can perform double satchel plays to close the gap between its enemies, and with this incredible mobility, you want close range weapons such as the Judge, Spectre, and Ares. Other agents that shine at closer ranges include Jet and Phoenix. With Jet's updraft and dash combo, you can close the gap between enemies fairly quickly while remaining a stealthy target. Perfect for dropping down with the Judge to demolish and tilt players to oblivion. In contrast, there are agents who have a more passive playstyle, and as such will find themselves in more longer range duels. An example that really comes to mind is Astra. With how much Astra needs to pay attention to the map and how she needs to be in safe distances, go into astral form to place her stars, you're better off picking a weapon that's deadlier at longer ranges, such as the Sheriff and Marshal. In general, controllers and sentinels will be playing further back, and as such are better off using longer range weaponry. This is especially true on attacker side, where these agents are busy setting up the play while the rest of the team goes in. It's a similar situation with initiators as well. These agents have abilities that really help push players away, and as such, you'll find yourself in longer range duels as well, like with controllers and sentinels. The duelists are really the main agents that are going to come in close, but it's important to note that these are just general ways to play an agent, and if you don't play them the way that we just mentioned, you're going to really want to pay attention to positioning, which we're going to get into right now. So lastly, position is really going to be the factor that dictates what weapon you want to buy on an eco round. If you're playing a really close range position like B Heaven holding Mail, the Judge is without a doubt the best eco weapon for the job. It can one-shot enemies here and is absolutely devastating to play against. If you're in more of a medium range position, like if you're holding B Garage from this off angle, then the Spectre and Ares are going to be your best bet if you can afford it. The Sheriff and Marshal aren't the best options here, as they don't have as much multi-kill potential, which is likely what you're going to face in this position. These weapons are much better in positions that you can jiggle into, such as playing on the side of Garage here, where you can strafe left and right to shoot and dip away. To summarize on positioning, you want to judge if you're playing a close range spot where you can 1 to 2 shot kill someone. Medium ranges are going to favor Spectre and Ares, and then medium to long range positions where you can jiggle peek back and forth will favor the Sheriff and Marshal. Again though, we have to consider all 3 of these advanced factors to determine our weapon of choice. For example, the Judge isn't going to be all that great on Breeze and Icebox overall. Sure, you can play a close range position, but if the enemies don't come to you, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. You're going to have to rotate long distances and are likely to end up fighting at a distance that is terrible for the Judge. But if we are using an agent like Jet, who can use her smokes and dashes to close the gap, then the Judge starts to look more viable again on the map. Make sure that you keep all 3 factors in mind and don't hyper focus on only one, as you're going to end up with problems. Alright, so if you haven't already, make sure to leave a comment on what weapon you like to purchase on an eco round. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get more premium guides just like this one, with one goal in mind: helping you become a better player. We here at SkillCapped want to thank you for watching. We'll catch you in the next. I'm Dr. Zora, and good luck out there.